Annabelle Azade Kajbaf is an award-winning fashion journalist, television host, and producer. Several of the world's biggest fashion magazines have featured her work, including Glamour, Cosmopolitan, and Harper's Bazaar. She has covered some of the world's most prestigious fashion shows, including London Fashion Week. The fashion world has recognized Annabelle for her incredible journey in the industry, which has led her to appear on the covers of several fashion magazines that she has written for. Annabelle is a French native who was raised in the fashion capital of the world, Paris. She has lived in several cities across the world since then. Among them are Tel Aviv, Bangkok, London, and Los Angeles. She currently resides in the USA and serves as the West Coast press correspondent for Bayard Press, France's largest publisher. Additionally, she writes for Vice, Harper's Bazaar, Glamour, and Cosmopolitan. In her latest venture, she hosts a fashion television show called Tell Me Mode, a show based on her extensive fashion experience and passion for the industry. The show will premiere on March 1st on the RYM network. RYM is a digital television network that can be found on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. According to the RYM network, Tell Me Mode will take viewers on a captivating journey into the dynamic and enthralling world of fashion history. Prepare to be transported through time as Annabelle, with her unparalleled expertise and passion for fashion, explores the ever-evolving styles, trends, and iconic moments that have left an incredible mark on the fashion industry. Fashion lovers won't want to miss Tell Me Mode. Please welcome Annabelle Azade Kajbaf to the hot seat.
Okay, so my first question for you is, did being raised in the fashion capital of the world, Paris, spark your fashion interest?
Sure, of course. I think that the most important thing you have to remember in Paris is that fashion starts with architecture and urbanism landscape. It's not only about the way people dress, it's the way the city is set and how the city is dressed itself. So you have very, very old buildings from the, middle age to the Renaissance to the 18th, 19th century up till now.
Mhm.
So what's really inspiring in Paris is this mix of eras. It's like a travel in time, but at the same time you're in the present and you see all these eras. It's like seeing parallel universes, but at the same time you're in the present.
Mhm.
So it's really a strength where you can like compose with everything that you see and mix it. And I feel like a lot of people, the way they dress in Paris is kind of like that. They dress a very old style, but
Mhm.
they also mix it with modern conceptual pieces. And that's why it's such an artistic city.
Yeah.
Because although you're free to wear whatever you want, you kind of have to follow a guideline.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've noticed, I've been traveled to a few places as well, and I've noticed that the fashion in different countries and even within different cities in those countries can be drastically different.
Yeah, so the difference, for example, with the US, so obviously each city in the US is different. I don't want to make any cliche. Like Chicago, for example, to take an example, it looks very much like France. I love Chicago. It's very human scaled. It has a very old district and like more modern districts built around them. And New York, people are always dressed very efficient because you have to be fast, and in LA, I would say like people are dressed more colorful. LA is kind of similar to Miami in the sense of like women are not scared of showing skin.
Mm.
They love bright colors. I would say in Miami it's a little bit more sheer than here. And
Mhm.
here it's more hippie, chic, boho.
Mhm.
Um, so that's also why I love living in America, because to me it is very exotic. It's super different from Paris, and each city offers a different identity, a different style.
Now that actually goes into one of my other questions that I was going to ask later on, but I'll ask it now. Since you are so well traveled, what do you find to be what city do you think is the most fashionable in the world?
So far, I would say it's a close tie between London and New York. but I want to go to Japan this year. and I think that
Mhm.
Japan is going to like overpass these two. I love London because London, it really, to me, is the heart of Europe. It's like very old, and it's the same than Paris. You can have buildings from the Middle Age, and you have buildings from that were built yesterday. And you have all the eras in between, and people are very elegant. When they're older, and when they're young, they're very irreverent in their style. And I really like that contrast because no matter how you're dressed in the street, people will still be very polite. They know how to carry themselves, so how to carry the clothes, which is something I really appreciate. And New York, I would say it's more exuberant. It's daring. So London would be the comforting style that will never age, and a few new things. I would say that London would be the comforty city that never age and has a few new styles. But New York is definitely the one where, like, every 6 months, when there's the fashion week there, we're all like looking and waiting around the corner to see what are going to be the new trends, the new cuts, the new colors, the new fabrics. Always pushing the boundaries of what's possible to wear, really.
Now, breaking into the fashion industry is notoriously difficult, and a lot of people fail. I went to an art college, and so there were many fashion students. So, can you tell me about how you got into such a heart to get into industry, and what was really your big break, would you say?
I did have very hard and difficult moments, but I think that I never took a no for an answer. I think that until the age of 28, 29, I barely make a living. It was
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah.
I think that I really see things in long term, like that's at least what my boyfriend says all the time. He says I see things on the long term, and it's like I'm not worried if something doesn't work because I know something else will. I'm not like I don't think you should put yourself some pressure of like, oh, this is a hard industry to get in, or there are very few seats available. You don't see me on screen right now, but I'm also half Persian, so I'm a woman of color,
Mm.
on top of wanting to work in the artist industry. So it's like it's a lot of obstacles. I think I just thought to myself, I know that I'm going to be great at this. I want to be the best at sustainable fashion, and I'm not going to let anyone else tell me that I don't deserve my seat. But beyond that, if I can give some practical examples and tips, and the confidence you must have to succeed in a creative industry, I made a list every time I lived somewhere. So I don't know if Vanessa told you, but I grew up in Paris and I worked in London for 3 years, Bangkok for 1 year, Tel Aviv for 1 year,
Mm.
New York for 6 months, and I've been living in LA for 6 years.
Wow.
And so every time what I did is that I would write a list of people that I know from second, third, fourth degree, like friends,
Yeah.
friends of friends, friends of friends of friends, relatives of friends, like
Yeah.
former employers, former employees of friends, like whoever I could find, like on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Mhm.
And I was just like offer people a coffee. And honestly, that's how I started my career. I was just like trying to think like people don't want to waste their time. They don't want to be asked for a favor. If you send a text or an email, nobody's going to reply to you. So I was like, I'm going to engage in a more human way of like, hey, I'm coming on the behalf of like, XYZ. I'm in town right now. I would love to offer you a coffee and know more about your career and understand more how you succeeded. And by doing that, I just create a network,
Mm.
and you have to give to receive, and a lot of people forget that. So it's not a hard industry if you know how to give. You just have to give. You just have to let go of the fear that you might fail, and just be yourself. And of course you have to also work on your knowledge. So whether it's fashion, whether it's movies, whether it's dancing, whether it's music, you need to really learn about the general history of your discipline, like who's the biggest photographer, like who were the biggest models in the 90s, like very like things basically that you should learn in school. But for example, me, I didn't go to fashion school,
Oh.
so I had to learn on the go. So it's also like you can definitely be a self-made person, but you just have to be like very hard with yourself, otherwise you won't succeed.
To kind of touch on that, all of your hard work led you to winning many awards in fashion journalism, and you've also appeared on the covers of major fashion magazines, the ones that you've worked for, the ones that you worked for. How does it feel to receive recognition for your hard work?
It's nice. It's nice, but it's not what I'm pursuing. But yeah, of course, it's better than not. I think it's just a good confirmation that I'm on the good path. You know what I mean? To me,
Yeah.
that's what it means. It's not like, oh yeah, like I printed it like an 8 by 10 and I framed it in my bedroom.
Yeah.
I know some people in LA were very narcissistic like that, by the way. So I know it's not impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a girl one day and like all the articles that were about her were framed in her house. And I thought to myself, I understand because you can't really judge someone. Like I know that like she had a rough childhood, and I think for her it was really really hard to get in the industry. So I mean, it was really hard for me too. But what I'm saying is like I understand the story of like for her it really represents something of like now she's in. But for me, it's not because I'm in the industry that I think I'm cool. For me, I think I'm cool because I have knowledge, and all that I do is to have more knowledge every day. I think that's the real coolness. So when I receive all these awards, I'm happy, of course. But to me, the real thing for it's more like it's an indicator that I'm on the good path.
Have you ever seen the film The Devil Wears Prada?
Oh yeah, I have.
So that film kind of demonstrates the ruthlessness of the fashion industry. There's many positive things, obviously, about the fashion industry, and some of them are quite negative, such as the models having to be a certain size, or it being overwhelmingly a white industry. In your opinion, how accurate was that reputation, do you think, in the movie?
I think everything is accurate in this movie. I'm not gonna deny anything.
Wow.
Yeah. It's obviously exaggerated because Meryl Streep, she's an actress, so obviously she exaggerates a little bit. But all the characters that she depicts, all the characters or depicts in this movie, I've met them.
Really?
Yeah. And it's also like it's an industry of gatekeepers. So once you have like for me now I have a very solid community here where people don't gatekeep me, so that's great because it means that they want to see me grow and they are proud of seeing me growing with them.
Mhm.
But some people are very like gatekeepers, which means that once they have access to something, they're not gonna share with you the access.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely I think counterproductive for everyone because I do think of the world as a community. I think we should all help each other, and I think it's actually beneficial for people to have knowledge. It's beneficial for people to be educated. It's beneficial for society. It's not like just beneficial for one person. It's like if everyone has a degree, if everyone has access to things, it makes the world a better place because there are less like justice issues and there are more equality rights. But the problem is that in fashion, a lot of people were bullied when they started.
Mhm.
So they think, oh, now that I'm big, now that I'm a bigger, I'm going to bully the new person. That's when problems happen.
That's interesting that you brought that up because my next question is literally, are reality TV stars like the Kardashians and social media influencers like Emma Chamberlain and Addison Rae, all of whom have been to the Met Gala, are they changing the fashion industry in a positive way, or is it all about followers and fame?
So to me, Kim Kardashian, she's kind of the new Marilyn Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
She's known for her body. She's an object of desire.
Mm-hmm.
Paparazzi follow her. Like there are lots of similarities. Thank God she doesn't have the same tragic story, which
Right.
is great. But she does have that similar path of you don't really know who she is. You don't really know why she's there. You don't really know what's her mission. I don't think Kim Kardashian has a mission, but to make money.
Yeah.
I think in that regard that Marilyn Monroe was much more graceful in terms of her. She was much more like holy in her goals in life. She wanted to be an actress, and yeah. As for access to fashion and the Met, I don't really mind. I think it's actually good because it offers more opportunities for designers and stylists to actually dress new people, you know?
Yeah.
And it would be quite frankly, it would be boring to always have the same people, right? So that's good. Um but in the sense of like the moral values of Kim Kardashian, I do not share them because she was famous for having sex on a tape, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's prostitution, so I am not endorsing that. I don't think she has great fashion, and I think she's extremely vulgar. I do not watch TV reality myself, so I can't really say that it's something that feels familiar, which is also I don't know what I can say to comment even further because I'm not very knowledgeable. It's too fake for me, you know.
Yeah.
And that's also why I think, like, to go back to Marilyn Monroe, I think that's also why she wore the dress of Marilyn Monroe. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because she is kind of that disenchanted angel, like object of desire, but at the same time, nobody knows why she's here. You know, I mean, at least Marilyn Monroe, she was elegant. You know, Kim Kardashian, she's so vulgar. Also, I hate plastic surgery. I'm for the reconstructive surgery, but again, plastic surgery. So I hate that part. So it's also like I'm not a very good client for the TV reality.
Understood. Now, this is really exciting, this show that you have coming up on the RYM network. Can you tell me more about Tell Me Mode and what inspired it and what can viewers expect from each episode?
Yeah, of course. So last year I was in Paris with a super good friend of mine, and I was telling her about Versailles as we were walking in the Versailles castle. And after a while, she looked at me and she was like, "Dude, you gotta do a show about history. You know, so much stuff, so many things." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And she said, "Yeah, you need to do something." And you need to do something maybe about fashion since that's something you love. And I was like, oh, that's actually a good suggestion. And when I came back to LA, I thought to myself, that's actually a really good idea. And I thought about the name, Tell Me Mode. So mode, it means fashion in French. So it means tell me more about fashion. Tell Me Mode. It's a play on words.
Okay.
And that's how I was born. And I aired my 3 first episodes on Instagram, got 50,000 views organically, got these magazine covers, really caught the attention of a lot of people in the industry, which was great. And then RIM Productions picked the show for Amazon Fire TV Plus and Roku TV. So I'm super excited. The idea of Tell Me Mode is to show to people that we all own a piece of history in our closet, but we're not aware of it. So it can be a piece of denim, underwear, floral prints, what else? Pastel colors, silk ribbons. They're all part of a bigger history. And so that's what I demonstrate and show in my show. And it's basically an educational show.
Wow. It's interesting. I've never quite seen anything like this, a kind of history show, but it's about fashion. It's very intriguing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I try to do something original. I actually try. I mean, that's actually how the idea of this show came around. Is because I was also checking stuff online, and as I said, I'm a nerd, so I love like going online and trying to find, I don't know, Wikipedia pages, like the usual stuff. And I could never find a good page about fashion. I could never find a good page that's telling me, the story of a garment, or, like it's always like very big scholar books that you can buy at a university store, which is like several hundreds of dollars. But there's no like open data of knowledge about it. So that's also the goal of the channel and the show.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm very happy for you, and I'm excited to see you doing this fashion thing, especially being a woman of color. I'm excited that you've linked up with Vanessa. Vanessa is amazing. Her network is incredible, what she's built and I know she's
Mhm.
very, very intelligent with what she's built. And you, just from talking to you, I can tell you're a very intelligent person.
Thank you. I was actually just actually recently given a honorary doctorate.
Really?
Uh,
From
mhm.
what university?
It's called Harvest Christian
Oh, wow.
University. It's based in
Oh,
Texas, but they're opening a campus in LA.
that's
Oh,
amazing.
thank you.
I always ask people this before I shut down the interview. Is there anything else that you would like to say that you didn't get to say?
I just wanted to thank you for your time, and thank you for considering me for an interview. Yeah, and I just hope you like watching the show. It's
Absolutely.
basically it.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you so much again for your time, and thank you for allowing me to interview you. It was a pleasure.
Oh yeah, no, of course, Monica, and let me know if I can check the edited version.
Okay,
You know.
absolutely. Well, listen, I'm going to sleep now. It's 1:30 in the morning here.
Oh wow, that's very different timing zone. It
It's,
really is across the world.
yeah,
Okay, well, thank you so much again. Have a good day and sleep well. We'll
thank
talk
you.
later.
Okay,
Okay,
bye-bye.
bye.